He is not the boogeyman. He is the man you sent to kill the boogeyman. What's going on, guys? My name is Trevor. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about John Wick 4, and this time around John Wick uncovers a path to defeating the High Table, but before he can earn his freedom, Wick must face off against a new enemy with powerful alliances across the globe and forces that turn old friends into foes. Let me know your thoughts of this movie down below in the comment section. What was your favorite part? What was your least favorite part? And come back in a couple of days because we'll have a John Wick ranking of all 4 John Wick movies, arguably the greatest action franchises of all time. This is my full non-spoiler thoughts, and let's get into it. So coming into this movie, I was damn excited. It was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. I love the John Wick movies, some of my favorite action movies of all time. So coming into this, I've heard it was the best of the franchise. And while for me, I think it was actually my least favorite of the franchise, I still had a ton of fun with it. The action is literally non-stop like majority of these movies are, but for some reason, this time just felt different. From the opening credit till the end credits rolled, the action is literally non-stop. There's not a second wasted. There's horse chases, car chases, rooftop chases, gunfights, sword fights, any kind of fights you can imagine, they're in this movie. And you have a damn good cast this time around. John Wick's always been like the main focal point, the main guy attacking and killing everyone. This time there's like other, I guess they would be called assassins, hitmen. What even is John Wick? He's an assassin, right? There are other ones that are like the main focal point of the story. There's one guy with a dog. His name is Nobody because he doesn't tell anyone his name. I love this character. I thought he was badass. I thought he was awesome. I wanted him to do a little bit more coming the end of the film, but a really solid character. And my favorite character in this movie was played by Donnie Yen, and his name was Kane. He was a blind assassin who was, first off, hilarious. He had one-liners after one-liners, but second off, he was more badass than John Wick in this movie. This dude was fighting people left and right, and they followed him just as much as they followed John Wick. Keanu Reeves barely had any lines in this movie. I thought that was very surprising that the baba-yaga did not talk all that much, but it's safe to say he's snapping necks and cashing checks the entirety of this film. The runtime is 2 hours and 49 minutes, and when it's non-stop fights after fights after fights, it might seem a little bit repetitive, but I didn't really feel the runtime all that much. I wanted it to be maybe a little bit shorter, but just the more I thought about it, it didn't feel like a 3-hour movie we sat for. The action is so immersive that you're not really checking your phone. You're just kind of in awe as everything they're putting on screen in front of you. And some of the shots and the way they film this is absolutely beautiful. There's one shot in particular, it's almost like a bird's eye view where they're like above this house and John Wick's running through, just killing everyone, and they're slowly moving the camera like this and you're looking straight down on it. I thought it was beautiful. My jaw was literally dropped to the floor. I love stuff like that. I love when they incorporate different techniques in filmmaking inside action movies like this when you're just not expecting it. I thought it was done well. It felt like a video game. I've seen some people talking about this felt like a video game movie. Think of like awesome video games you used to play with your friends, running around and shooting people in these video games. That's what this movie felt like, because that's exactly what it is, the entirety of it. You also gotta talk about the soundtrack and the score. They have some good songs in there, but the scores in these movies are riveting. They're intense, and they fit the vibe so well. There's one scene where John Wick's in the club fighting. I told you they have every kind of fight scene you can imagine. He's literally in a nightclub fight and there's people dancing. He's running around punching people in the face, and they have good music going with that. It just fits the vibe. It doesn't come off as tacky. It doesn't come off as weird. It just works to his advantage. And there were several of those kills throughout this movie that got the audience cheering. I hope you get to see this with a huge audience because I had about 45 people in mind. We were laughing, cheering, true fans of the baba-yaga. Several times you gotta look away. Sometimes you're going, ooh, ah, screaming, cheering, laughing. It's a fun-ass time in the movie. As for a couple problems I have with the movie, I didn't mind the runtime, but also at times I was like, these action scenes are going on just a little bit too long. So I guess the runtime it worked to its advantage, but also worked to its disadvantage in a way because some scenes were dragged on just a little bit. And my biggest problem with John Wick 3 is that you had to like leave the belief at the door because he took an unhealthy amount of damage and unlikely amount of damage in John Wick 3. I was hoping they didn't go that route in John Wick 4, and unfortunately they did. There's several scenes where you're kind of rolling on your eyes that he's just shrugging it off and going. It's almost coming off that he's like a superhero rather than actually just a human. He jumps out of a window, hits a van, smacks his head on the ground, and just hops up after a little and obviously he's running around killing people without getting shot. Obviously, like, you have to leave some belief at the door, but sometimes I just couldn't with this movie, and like he gets pushed down like 200 flights of stairs and he just gets up and he runs back up the stairs. Certain things like that, I guess, just bothered me, maybe a little bit of a nitpick. And the other 3 John Wick movies, I didn't really have those problems. John Wick 3, I did a little bit, but John Wick 4, they had more of those problems than I wanted. And that's what's making this, I think, my least favorite John Wick movie, is that I had a little more nitpicks and gripes with it. With the other 3, I just laugh and have a great time. And also, this one really hurts me to say, but Keanu Reeves' performance as John Wick this time around, it just didn't do it for me. It came off as cheesy, clunky, cliche, kind of like how some Keanu movies do. Like, they just didn't seem like he was there with his delivery. If you go back to the first John Wick, he doesn't have a lot of lines, but when he delivers them, it just seems badass. It seems cool. And this one, it seems like he's almost forcing it out of himself. I don't know. I love Keanu. He's one of my favorite working actors of all time. So this one hurts me to say. But at the end of the day, those are nitpicks and gripes I had with the movie. I still loved it. It's still a top 3 movie of the year for me so far. It's badass. It's some of the best looking action we have ever freaking seen. And I thought the ending was really moving. I did not expect the way to go the way they went. And I really enjoyed it. It sounds like I was kind of hating on this movie. I was really thinking, oh, that's a 4 out of 5. I'm going to change that to a 4.5 out of 5, a 9 out of 10. It's badass. It's awesome. See this with your friends. Watch it in a jam-packed theater and have fun because it is absolutely epic and badass. Let me know your guys' thoughts on John Wick Chapter 4 down below in the comment section. And come back tomorrow because we'll have a ranking of all 4 John Wick movies. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one.